This is a warning. There is a silent manipulator governing your life, and it's not your boss or your bank account. It is a psychological poison, a form of relational control so deep you mistake it for love or duty. Two of history's most radical thinkers gave us the antidote. The psychologist Carl Jung warned of the collective unconscious, an invisible psychic ocean we all swim in. But the philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche was more blunt. He warned of the herd, the comfortable masses who trade their soul for the illusion of safety. The most profound secret is this: society doesn't want you to be a whole person. It needs you to be a predictable part, a willing cog in its machine, and it will manipulate you into becoming one. This feeling, this quiet suspicion that the life you're living isn't yours, isn't just anxiety. It's the chilling realization that you're in a cage, built by the expectations of others. You chase their goals, you defend their values, you hit every milestone they approve of. But there's a hollowness inside, isn't there? A sense that you're just an actor in a play you never auditioned for. Nietzsche saw this as the great danger of modern life. Not that we fail, but that we succeed at things that don't matter. We become what he called the last man, a creature who seeks only comfort and has forgotten how to dream, a ghost in our own life. In this exploration, we're holding up a mirror, not to a dusty idea, but to your very soul. We'll uncover 7 secret signs that you've been captured by the herd, symptoms of psychological manipulation that can drain the life from your life. This is a journey to expose the hidden program running your world and to ask the most dangerous and liberating question there is: what if I broke their code and wrote my own? The single greatest danger for most of us isn't that we'll fail spectacularly. It's that we'll succeed at things that don't matter. We climb a ladder to the top, only to realize it was leaned against the wrong damn wall, the view a wasteland we never wanted. This is the quiet tragedy of a life that is comfortable, secure, and completely out of sync with your soul. The pressure to conform is not some old-fashioned idea. It's a sophisticated, invisible force, and the first step to breaking free is recognizing you're in chains. So, before we spot the symptoms, we have to understand the illness. What is this collective Jung warned us about? It is what Nietzsche called the herd. Let's be clear, this isn't about healthy community or family. We are social creatures. We need connection. This is something else entirely. It's a psychological trap, a system of relational control that values the group's comfort over your individual soul. It's the warm, suffocating blanket of consensus. Jung saw that we all wear a mask. He called it the persona. It's the good daughter, the diligent employee, the perfect partner. It's a necessary tool, but the danger begins when the mask fuses to your skin. The collective hands you a pre-approved persona, and we get so used to the applause it brings that we mistake it for our actual face. Is that smiling, agreeable person who you really are? Or is it a projection of who your mother, your friends, or your culture needs you to be? Worse still is the collective shadow. Every group has a dark side. All the impulses and truths it denies. This shared darkness is projected onto scapegoats and enemies. This is where psychological vampirism begins. The collective demands absolute loyalty to its light side and viciously attacks anyone who points out its shadow or dares to embrace their own. Its goal is to maintain a fragile peace by repressing everything real and human. It wants you predictable, it wants you safe, but most of all, it wants you numb enough not to notice the life being drained from you. The trap doesn't feel like a trap. It feels like common sense. It feels like being a good person. From day one, we are trained to project the right personality and to fear our own depths. Breaking away isn't just rebellion. It's a deep psychological war against your own conditioning. It starts with the courage to see the bars of your own comfortable cage. The first sign is how you form your beliefs. Think about it. Your stance on big issues. Was it forged in the fire of your own critical thought? Or did you absorb it from your environment like secondhand smoke? Did you choose it? Or did it choose you? For the person lost in the collective, opinions are not conclusions. They are costumes. You wear the opinion that best fits the group you're in, not because you're a liar, but because your psyche cares more about belonging than about truth. Voicing a belief that contradicts your social circle feels like a risk of exile, so the mind takes a shortcut. It adopts the group's thoughts as its own. You become a mouthpiece. You see this in real time online. A complex event happens, and within hours, a single story emerges. The member of the collective sees this, feels the intoxicating rush of moral certainty, and repeats the signal. They aren't sharing a conviction. They are performing loyalty. They are strengthening their persona. Unaware the mask is eating their fate. The collective labels the independent thinker as difficult or problematic, a subtle form of relational control. So you learn to distrust your own gut if it doesn't match the consensus. You outsource your mind. Your brain stops being a laboratory and becomes an echo chamber. The price isn't just laziness, it's the surrender of the one view of the world only you can have. This sign cuts to your very core. When facing a moral choice, where do you look? Inward, to a compass built from your own principles, or outward, to the crowd, the institution, or the latest trend? The collective needs a simple moral code. It can't handle nuance that threatens its unity, so it presents its morality as the option, a system of black and white rules that absolves you of the terrifying responsibility of real choice. You don't have to wrestle with your conscience, you just follow the program. But is it enough? This outsourcing is everywhere. It's in blind loyalty to a political party where the platform replaces personal ethics. It's in corporate cultures where company values are used to enforce conformity. And it's most visible in the digital mob, which hands down swift, brutal sentences every day. The fear of being on the wrong side of that mob, of being labeled problematic, forces you to silence your own instincts and adopt the popular stance. This is where you see victim resonance take hold. People bond not through shared strength, but through a shared sense of righteousness, often aimed at a common enemy. It feels safe, but it's the safety of a prison cell. A whole person has confronted their own shadow, their capacity for cruelty and selfishness. They've built a personal ethic from that struggle. But the person who outsources their morals never enters the arena. They remain morally undeveloped, a child lost when the crowd isn't there to tell them right from wrong. Your sense of self is built not on rock, but on the shifting sands of social approval. Look at your life goals. Are they sharp, specific, and lit by a personal fire? Or do they sound like a generic checklist somebody else handed you? The promotion your parents always wanted for you, the bigger house to impress your friends, the exotic vacation for Instagram. The collective promotes a vision of the good life that is easy to copy and measure. It creates predictable consumers and gives everyone a clear ladder to climb. These goals aren't evil, but they become a trap when they replace what your soul genuinely craves. The question, "What do I truly want?" gets twisted into, "What am I supposed to want?" This is a subtle, powerful form of relational manipulation. Is this your dream, or a dream that was projected onto you? The person caught in this trap has likely never asked what their own personal story is. They were handed a menu of acceptable life scripts and picked one. For Jung, the goal of life is individuation, becoming the unique individual you were meant to be. But the collective fears this. It fears the person whose calling makes no sense to others. Their path is a glitch in the system. You can achieve all the generic goals and find yourself in a state of quiet desperation. You get the house, the title, the followers, and you feel nothing. That is the ghost of the life you were supposed to live, haunting the comfortable one you settled for. You followed a map that led to a place you never wanted to be. This sign is about how you feel when you do nothing. When you are utterly alone with no phone, no TV, no voices, what happens? Is it peace, or does a wave of anxiety rush in? The person lost in the collective is terrified of true solitude. The collective provides constant noise and endless stream of feeds and notifications. This noise is not just entertainment, it's a sedative. It's a form of psychological vampirism, constantly draining your attention to stop you from hearing the quiet, insistent voice of your true self. In the silence, the questions you run from begin to surface. Am I happy? Is this all there is? Who am I really beneath this mask? These questions are terrifying because they threaten the comfortable fiction of your life. This fear of being alone is a fear of confronting the stranger in your own head. You use constant stimulation like a drug. The moment the noise stops, the void opens. You fear solitude because the silence isn't empty. It's full of the truths you're trying to outrun. For Jung, solitude was the sacred space where the most important work is done. It's the laboratory of the soul. It's only when you unplug from the collective's broadcast that you can finally hear your own signal. The sabotage of this fear is that you never truly meet yourself. You become a collection of external influences, a personality assembled from the reflections of others. With no solid core, you become dependent on others for your sense of self. When you achieve something, what is the final verdict? Is it the quiet internal satisfaction of meeting a challenge? Or is it the flood of external approval, the likes, the compliments, the promotions? For the person trapped in the collective, self-worth is a currency that only other people can give you. They are emotional vampires in reverse, addicted to the validation of others to feel full. Their value isn't a stable, internal state. It's a price that fluctuates wildly with public opinion. They post photos not to share a memory, but to harvest approval. They chase titles not for the mastery, but for the status. Their entire life becomes a performance, but the audience is fickle, and the applause always fades. This is the natural result of living through your persona. Since the mask is designed to please others, it can only be measured by their reaction. You have no internal ruler. This is an exhausting, soul-crushing way to live. The hunger for validation is never satisfied. The sabotage of living for external validation is that it makes you a slave. Your emotional well-being is held hostage by the whims of others. This makes it impossible to take real risks or to follow a path the collective doesn't understand. You will only ever do what is guaranteed to be popular. And what is popular is almost never what is profound. What is your immediate reflex when you feel anxiety, struggle, or heartbreak? Do you see these feelings as a sign that something is wrong with you, a disease to be cured with distraction or easy answers? Or do you see them as meaningful, if agonizing signals? The collective's ultimate goal is comfort. It sells the dangerous lie that a healthy life is a painless life. In this view, negative emotions are system errors. But a life without struggle is a life without growth. Struggle is the gym for your soul. You might find yourself in relationships built on victim resonance, where you and another person bond over your shared pain but never move to fix it. Bond over bond. You think you're loving them, but you're really just saving someone who refuses to save themselves because their struggle makes you feel needed. Jung taught that symptoms are the psyche's attempt to heal itself. Your anxiety and depression are not enemies. They are messengers, telling you that your life has become too narrow for your soul. To run from this discomfort is to hang up on the most important call of your life. The sabotage of this mindset is that it makes you incredibly fragile. If you believe you are entitled to a life without pain, you will be shattered by the first real trial. You become terrified of feeling bad, and that fear stops you from doing anything brave. You must change your relationship with discomfort. See it not as an enemy, but as a guide. Your pain is pointing the way. The final, most tragic sign is that you have learned to police your own mind. When did you last avoid a book, an idea, or a person because they seemed too dangerous, controversial, or weird? Was it a lack of interest, or was it a gut-level fear of straying too far from approved territory? The collective maintains its power by drawing sharp lines around acceptable thought. It creates intellectual no-go zones. The person trapped within learns to recognize these electric fences and instinctively stays away. They develop an anti-curiosity, a reflex to shut down any thought that might lead to a conclusion that clashes with the group's narrative. They are afraid of their own mind. This isn't the same as having strong beliefs. It's the fear of having those beliefs tested. A person of true conviction welcomes a challenge. The herd member is terrified because their beliefs are borrowed, not earned. To question the collective's core assumptions is to risk your entire identity. The safest path is to simply not look. The sabotage of censoring your curiosity is that you sentence yourself to life in a small, well-lit room while the vast universe of your own soul waits outside. You kill your own potential for wisdom. All true breakthroughs happen when someone dares to ask a question everyone else was too afraid to. The antidote is to become a courageous explorer of your own inner world. Follow your curiosity, especially when it leads you into the dark. Recognizing you are trapped is the first shock, but knowledge alone doesn't unlock the cage. The way out is not a single escape, but a lifelong, courageous process of becoming a true individual. Jung called this the path of individuation. It is the fundamental task of every human life. Breaking away is the hardest thing you will ever do. It can be profoundly lonely. When you start speaking from your soul instead of your mask, old friends may fall away. You will battle your own deeply ingrained habits, but the alternative is to live as a ghost in your own life. The solution lies in a few conscious, soul-altering practices. First, you must courageously confront your shadow. Stop projecting all darkness onto others and start looking for it in yourself. Actively seek out the smartest arguments from people you disagree with. Read the books your tribe forbids. Acknowledge your own capacity for envy, anger, and selfishness. The goal isn't to become these things, but to integrate them, to bring their raw energy under your conscious control. This builds unshakable character. Second, you must practice active imagination. This is a structured dialogue with your inner world. Embrace productive solitude. No phone, no music, no distractions, just you. Journal, meditate, or simply walk and pay attention to your thoughts. Ask your dreams what they mean. In this silence, you untangle your own voice from the collective's noise. Your own values crystallize. You stop the psychological vampires from draining your attention. Your soul finally gets a word in. Third, your life's great work is to discover your personal myth. This is deeper than just setting goals. It means moving beyond the collective's generic scripts. It means uncovering the unique story your soul came here to live. What problem are you uniquely equipped to solve? What is the meaning you are willing to suffer for? This quest is the core of individuation. It becomes your new guide. When you face a great choice, you won't look to the crowd. You will consult the map of your own soul. If this deep dive into the battle for your own soul resonated with you, subscribe to this channel. We don't deal in easy answers here. We believe these are essential tools for living a real life in a world that wants you to stay asleep. And now for our first small step on this path. I have a question for you, and I will read and reply to as many comments as I can. Leave a comment below with one ambition or curiosity you have that feels uniquely yours, one that isn't on the standard checklist. It doesn't matter how small or strange. Let's create a space that celebrates the individual soul over the collective mask. Let the process of reflection begin right now. The brutal, liberating truth is that the path to a meaningful life is almost always at odds with the path of least resistance. Society, for all its gifts, has a built-in tendency to crush the very individuality that humanity needs to evolve. The comfort of belonging is a powerful siren's song, and it can lull us into a lifelong sleep where we live and die without ever meeting our true selves. The 7 signs we've explored: reflected opinions, an outsourced moral compass, generic ambitions, fear of solitude, needing external validation, treating discomfort as a disease, and censored curiosity, are not judgments, they are a wake-up call. They are an invitation to begin the radical, sacred process of breaking free from the psychological manipulation of the herd. To break from the collective is not to become an enemy of the world, but to become the author of your own world. It is to choose the difficult freedom of wholeness over the easy comfort of conformity. The journey is hard, a path paved with shadow and struggle, yet it is the only journey that leads to a life that is actually yours. It is the difference between being a sheep in the flock and the shepherd of your own soul. The challenge is as urgent today as it has ever been. Dare to stand alone, dare to think for yourself, and dare to become who you truly are.